Welcome to episode 6 of Talking Bollocks, Reefy as Fuck. Today our subject is food and feeding. So I've actually got a whole pile of shit sitting here on a chair so I can do like show and tell. But I always
Nice.
go first. So why does somebody else not go first? Apparently Jim's will take 15 seconds to tell
Let's
us
get it right out of the way then.
his food and feeding. Oh, Jim's got some props as well. Here we go. That's a big bag.
Yeah, Reef Nutrition PDO pellets. They are the 1.7 millimeter pellets. That's in my Eheim auto feeder, goes off twice a day during the day. And then I dump, I don't know, an inch and a half by inch and a half square chunk of PE mysis frozen. Just thawed in a cup of salt water from the tank. Just dump it in, and that's my feeding. I don't turn any filters off. Don't turn any pumps off. Just dump it. But I have noticed, like I did notice, and I've told you guys before, that with some of the smaller fish, like my chromis, when I tried to worry about nutrients and I tried to feed less to keep the tank cleaner, the smaller fish started to shrivel up, and a few of them died. So 11 chromis went to 7. But as soon as I realized it was because they weren't getting enough food, and I started feeding 3 times a day again, and I didn't give a shit about my nitrates being 50 and my phosphates being, 0.5, they all came back, and they've been alive for the last 2.5 years. So feed is my kind of MO.
Which one of the automatic feeders is it, Jim? Is it the daily feeder like this one?
You are ready,
That's it.
man.
Oh,
2 times a day.
I've got
And I only
pile of shit.
the hardest part with that is really like I have the opening set as like the smallest opening
Yeah,
and then a little. So
yeah.
it's like 1.5.
I know
Because
exactly.
if you go to
what you mean.
2, it just
Yeah,
if I go to 1, it like 2 pellets come out.
yep.
Yeah.
But right, kind of.
Yeah, I know
I've seen
exactly what
someone
you mean.
someone said it and then they put tape over it again to get exactly what they wanted.
Oh,
So they
Is that
closed it
Ron?
down even more.
So
Was that
was that you, Ron?
was that right?
I've put insulating tape on this one. Yeah,
So I think probably heard it from you then.
yeah. You just lock it in, or you put it all the way open and put the insulating tape, and you can choose any gap you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, Jim. Getting that the first notch is just not quite enough, but notch two's too much. It's I'm sitting looking at it thinking, yeah, two's too much.
Yeah. It's
We
amazing,
knocked one of
Zach.
those in. We knocked one of those in the tank last week, so we're down one.
Yeah, my first one I dropped it in the tank too. So I'm on my second one. But I was only 2 weeks in. I don't remember what I did, but I was like, oh fuck. I pulled it out. I fucking tried it. I tried it. It never worked. So
Do either of you have the little thing that you sit it on, and then it's got a clear tube that goes down into the water? So
that's what mine
it
is.
goes down the overflow. Yeah.
Yeah, because I leave all my pumps on, so I don't have anything timed. So there's a clear tube that comes down off of it that
Yeah.
goes
Oh,
about
no,
an
I don't.
inch. It goes about an inch into the water so that they can, if when it dumps, some of them go into the water column.
Yeah.
Some of them float at the top.
Yep.
So the ones that float at the top at least get to, soak up some water and drop into the water column instead of just blowing right into the overflow.
Yeah. Are those pellets you use? Are they moist, slightly moist?
Yeah, and I keep them in the fridge, but I only fill that feeder container up about a third because that lasts like a month, and I don't want the pellets out forever.
I've found if you
So
fill it, it can actually tip it slightly as well, depending on how heavy the pellets are.
I've never tried to fill it that much to know, but
Yeah.
I really like that feeder. I change the batteries. I've heard horror stories of when the batteries get too low it just starts to spin and spin and spin.
Really?
So I have, yeah.
Oh,
So
I hate
I
that.
make sure I change batteries like every year.
Yikes.
But other than that,
Yeah, so I decided to upgrade to the twin version, which has
Oh, the screw.
kind of like Archimedes screws type things. So this actually worked quite well for a while, but I was using the Ocean Nutrition medium and small pellets, and I found that the medium pellets, if 2 or 3 pellets lined up at just this magical area down at the bottom here, it actually makes the screw mechanism pop off of the gear. Therefore, that's it, it's dead. It doesn't work. The motor just spins down within the body, but no food is dispensed. So then I upgraded to this piece of shit from Neptune. I'm not even going to waste my time talking about that. It was super noisy, very inconsistent, didn't like it, piece of shit. I then upgraded to the Wi-Fi version of the daily feeder, which is exactly the same unit, except you can control over Wi-Fi, and I have never once managed to connect it via Wi-Fi. I have offered this to you guys for free, and everybody has said no. So
but you're working in that garden center. You got fucked up Wi-Fi. Like you can't even get power strips to work to the
Well, no.
hydros. I mean,
I can get power strips to work instantly straight out of the box. I just can't get them to work with hydros. That's the only issue. Oh, my internet's amazing. I've got 200.
yeah, but didn't your Wi-Fi fuck up your? Didn't you spend 2 weeks trying to figure out why your Aperture Neptune was a piece of shit and then finish your Wi-Fi thing?
Oh no, it was what the fuck was that? What did I
It
actually
was a little
figure-
Wi-Fi plug.
The cord was unplugged. The fucking adapter, the Wi-Fi dongle wasn't plugged in. My
No.
fucking internet don't work.
No, that's not what it was. That's not what it was. It was just a little single 13 amp Wi-Fi socket. The connection was starting to go, so I binned it, stuck a new one on, and it was fine because everything just kept.
We don't have those problems in the States. Our Wi-Fi things plug in and work.
Mine suck.
Yeah, thank you.
That's because you're in a fish store. You got water everywhere.
I just
Maybe.
want to go slightly off on a tangent here and say, Chris, what a handsome fucker you are, and you've obviously shaved off your moustache, and you now look 15 years younger. Are you allowed to be on the internet on your own?
I shaved that off a while ago. But I look like shit right now. I just woke up a little while ago.
That's all right.
Wow.
I take naps during the day. I don't really.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, sorry.
What?
But back to Jim and his feeding. So this is the only thing you use for feeding pellets, and you feed Reef Nutrition, which I constantly get mixed up with Ocean Nutrition. Do you guys get this over there?
Mhm.
Yes.
PDO, Reef Nutrition. Great. It's good for the tangs. It's good for the angel. It's good for the fox face. They all like it. So
I'm a huge
Yeah.
pellet fan. I that's almost exclusively all I feed now because I've got all bare
Yep.
bottom tanks and I feed very, very carefully in a certain spot. Every single pellet either gets eaten before it hits the bottom of the tank, or it hits the bottom of the tank and I can see that it's blowing around and then the fish find it. Therefore, there is nothing left. Zero.
yeah, but I like the frozen, and I don't strain it because I like the. I don't feed.
It's okay. It was just
Sure how to open this door, and it's too expensive for me to touch it. And lastly, this one.
so there is a thing I can
Tom's there.
I can switch a thing on in Zoom that everybody joins automatically muted. And I looked at it this morning and I thought,
Officers were driving around. When it started to rain, he flicked the window wipers on. It
so
was the normal store. The wipers started
I think I'll
What are you
turn it on
watching,
next
Tom?
time.
so they pulled over.
Tom.
They got out.
Tom, you gotta fix this.
It's all right, I've muted him. It's fine. It's not up to him.
All right, time's out.
Sorry, on you go. Continue, Jim.
So, I don't feed my corals, anything. So I use the frozen and the slurry created from the frozen thawing as basically my reefroids. So my corals get food from my frozen slurry. So that's why I don't strain it. I just dump it in for the corals. I mean, obviously the fish aren't going to pick at it, but maybe some of the smaller particles are good for, some of the cleanup crew.
Do
And
you use any type of food soak?
nope,
So
nothing.
I've started
Doesn't
soaking
do
all of my
fucking shit.
Yeah, see, you guys, I mean, you don't need all that shit. I mean, you just grow coral, just dump a little food in there and light, and
I totally agree with
I'm
you, but I have a frag system that I am trying to rapidly grow corals in, and if I don't feed, nutrients hit zero really, really quickly. And I've got there's a lot of mouths in there, a lot of mouths in comparison to just a standard reef tank. I've just got a carpet of SPS at the moment, so that's why I'm feeding. But I
yeah.
want to say on the subject of fish, since soaking my pellets in one dropper of Silcon, and then sometimes I soak a little bit of the pellets in the coral nutrition, because that then gives the corals a little bit of nutrition while I'm broadcast feeding. But since using Silcon, I had a major problem with HLLE in pretty much every single tang across all of the species that I ever owned. I had HLLE. It started on the cheeks and on the face, and then it started to erode, and then actually started to erode certain fins. But since soaking my pellets in a bit of Silcon, not only have every single tang I have, apart from one, regenerated the flesh on the HLLE areas, it's completely stopped it in new fish as well.
Do you soak your marbles in it too?
Russ said
You
he
do that
wasn't
every
there.
time?
Yes, every time. So I take some of the medium pellets, some of the small pellets, both of the sort of like herbivore version and the other version, and I put one squirt of Silcon in there, and then sometimes I soak it in Seachem Vitality, which I've been using for years because I've got an account with Seachem, and then as I said, just recently I've been starting to soak it in the AB Plus coral nutrition as well. So,
But that's one time a day. Then you have your auto feeders going too.
no,
But that stuff,
I don't use auto feeders unless I'm not here.
really?
Yeah, I don't automatically
I mean,
feed.
you could throw that shit in the auto feeder and be done. Not have to do it at all.
Yeah, not soaked though. That's the thing. And like I say, I've got a bristle tooth, a naso, and a clown tang in the frag tank. And as soon as I put the clown tang in there, a little bit of HLE started, and I was like, right, Silcon back into the pellets. Boom, stopped, reversed, healed.
How about the rest of you? You guys using any vitamins or nutrition drops on your dry food?
I used to
Only
use
on the
silicone a little
fish bowl.
while ago.
You did?
What did you use,
Zach,
Chris?
you do a little bit?
When
use
I
it
had
with,
my coral tang for a while, I used it because I kind of saw the same thing, like lateral line disease and a little bit of hole in the head starting. Used the silicone, got it to stop, and I think after that, I kind of kept on nori a little better. And then it didn't seem to come back. But I just finished my bottle not too long ago, so I still use it here and there. But
And Zach, did you say you used it? Oh, what have we got?
Yeah, I use the Brightwell Amino and Omega 3/6, and then vitamin M multi, and I just use it on the fish wall when I'm dosing medications into my food too. So usually I'm adding Metro and with like a gelatin or a Focus or something, and this is just my binder to moisten it. It's like adding stock to your pasta instead of just water, a little extra.
Do you you do the aminos just for your fish?
Yeah, just for the fish feeds. Oh, well, this one is specifically for fish feed.
And does everyone's favorite LFS, Great Lakes Coral, carry these items?
A few. I got a big jug of this for myself.
Do you have more than one big jug? Do you have two big jugs?
I've got many jugs laying around.
Really?
Yeah, I'll show you later.
Cool. Private party.
We want to see now. We want to see jugs now.
You want to see my freezer?
Why not? Do you want me to put on some music in the background while you...
Yeah.
You got Careless Whisper on your soundboard, Ron?
We carry a lot of Hikari frozen. From our research, it was like the best, cleanest frozen stuff if anybody wanted to care about it. But I think they're all pretty good, whatever frozen food you pick. I think what
I
our
used
favorites.
to use the Hikari too. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I think our
Hikari
favorites
is a
are
lot cleaner.
spirulina.
Yeah.
Spirulina's
And that's
popular.
how I
Anything with the
feed.
spirulina.
That's how I feed my tank, just with the frozen stuff. Just drop a cube in, a little feeder, let it melt, juice and all in the tank, and then whatever. I use the Hikari stuff. I like the little cubes instead of the big sheets, just for ease.
This is our personal bin down here.
Yeah.
We'll get deli shrimp, raw from like Aldi's or whatever's on sale, and then I'll chop it up and we feed some of the animals every 3 days, like the eels and the chocolate chip stars and other predators. They get that hand tongued every day, and then we have I got a case of these magnetic brine shrimp cysts that are make hatching brine super easy, and I've had pretty good luck with new fish coming in. It's really small stuff like delicate Bengai cardinals and firefish and things alike will just instantly eat it right up. Whereas I used to, they would just kind of wither away in the past. They were so stressed. They had no interest in eating anything.
I liked the meaty, kind of goopy, gunky PE mysis a little more than Hikari mysis. Just there was a little more variety, some chunkier stuff for the bigger fish, some smaller things for the smaller fish. Where the frozen Hikari seems to be a little bit smaller pieces. Once you thaw it.
Have you tried Reef Nutrition mysis?
No,
that stuff sucks. It all breaks apart. It breaks up into a million pieces. I don't even want to stock it.
No,
It's
I never
also
tried it.
PE mysis. It's also PE mysis, but it as soon as you pour it into a bottle or into the tank, it's all disintegrated. There's no like big chunks of shrimp left or anything.
Yeah, the only frozen Reef Nutrition food that I've ever used and really enjoyed was like the Dwarf Angel specific high and sponge formula, things like that. It was really good, but just the standard feeds like mysis and brine and stuff like that, it was like as if somebody put it through a really fine blender. Just like, oh, here's your nutrients going up. The fish didn't even eat it. It was so small. They were just like,
Yeah.
eat air.
But the roe eggs, Reef Nutrition's roe is awesome. I haven't seen a fish not go after it.
They go fucking nuts. Coral polyps come out. Everything loves the roe egg.
So is that the
And
orange?
it lasts longer than about every other Reef Nutrition product. That and Oyster Feast.
So that's for coral, or is that for fish? That's just
for
for
fish,
coral?
or and coral, whatever catches it. Fish, LPS corals, NPS corals, many other inverts.
I've just realised I've got Reef Nutrition and Ocean Nutrition mixed up again.
Yeah, you did.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, we all caught that, but we let you go.
Insert
You're
plum.
you know, the advanced
Well,
reefer.
Noob. That's what I'm going to get written on my fucking t-shirt. I am still a noob, 100%.
And
I like
I'm
the
probably
TDO pellets too.
the name, but I think the guy from Reef Nutrition is now the guy at V2O Foods.
Chad?
And again, or no, not Reef Nutrition, Ocean Nutrition, I think, is now at V2O. It's the frozen food, the frozen one. Yeah, Ocean Nutrition.
Is his name Ron?
Anyway, the VTO food is okay too. I've used that in the past and it was fine.
The OTR?
E2O.
TTO? PTO?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the STR. Isn't the STR shit good?
Get
Are
it
we
to
going to
walk.
start talking about PNS again?
Yeah. PNS and
AS
STDs.
I would talk
ASMR.
about NPS. That would be a cool subject with food.
Well, Jim could tell us a little bit about his
He doesn't do anything.
dendros. Yeah.
What do I do? My what?
Well, the way you feed it and the way it comes round.
Oh, I just because I don't turn my pumps off, I let the pumps take the food to certain corals that need them. So, I got a lot of frog spawn. I got, dendros and I got an anemone, and I use my power heads to pull food to corals that need food. So the flow is not just, I mean, obviously flow is super important for corals, right? It brings food, it takes away, waste. And if I can utilize my pumps to do that when I feed my fish for the corals that need it, I mean, why not? I mean, it saves me from having to get a 2-foot long eyedropper with a hook on it and have to, target feed certain corals. So use the water flow to feed your corals instead of buying an eyedropper and target feeding them.
Mr.
Yeah,
Dunn.
I do broadcast feeding, but then I still have the eyedropper just for the hell of it. Like, just in case I want to target feed something for like a picture or for the dendros. But more than 9 times out of 10, probably 99 out of 100, it's just plop a cube in, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, I think your corals have a better chance of survival unless, you're so dedicated advanced reefer like Ron that you mix up everything every day. And like
weigh it down to the gram on a kitchen scale.
Yeah, right. I don't know, like
just tip them into a tub. I literally go tip, silicone, dump.
Do you got it on your aperture mixer too? Like time?
It sure can't
for a certain amount
to
of
add
spin,
the extra.
What's an
spins per minute?
What's an aperture mixer? Is that
I don't know.
It's a special orange and gray magnetic stir for the low price of $4.95, and it connects directly to a telephone jack.
They don't make that. Fuck's sake.
I don't know. Now they're going to do it because they know people like you use that stuff. You don't mix you don't have a revolution per second, to make sure it's all mixed exactly the same way every time.
My food? No, I don't. I do that for chemistry, as you should know, Jim.
Yeah,
you're a scientist.
What is the feeding
I'm
checklist?
a scientist.
The feeding protocol.
You missed Ron's feeding protocol. Do you have that in your desk, like a checklist? Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this.
Yeah, I've got all sorts of notes and.
How about you, ZB? How's your checklist going? Remember, you started your check. You had your calendar checklist. Is it working?
It's been pretty awesome, actually, to like keep me in track. I'm pretty happy about it. I feel silly that I didn't do it before.
I think that's
and
great
also
for
looking
a
ahead.
Store. Yeah.
And even Brianna, I share it with Brianna, and she'll go in and like, did you do this today? And I'd be like, no, and we're on the same page and stuff, and we can see what's checked, and she'll just ignore something if it's already done,
and you get to check it off after she does it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good job, Bree. Do this one next.
Little gold sticky stars.
She's almost off the paper. She's got like, so many.
You got green stars when you do it and gold stars when she does it, and the whole list is all gold stars.
Extra large stars for Brianna.
Wait, Brianna, do that again. I got to get a photo of it.
She thinks it's pretty comical. She thinks, wow, those guys don't think you do anything, huh?
Yep. Too busy fucking around on Discord.
Yeah. She won't join.
It's marketing, Ron.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. I do get it. Yeah. So, Mr. Dub, I don't know what you're actually up to at the moment, but do you want to talk about what you feed and why?
So I, like you guys, have a automated feeder that goes throughout the day, 3 times a day for both systems, actually 75 and the 80. I feed brine shrimp direct color enhancing pellets. They're like a small pellet. It's like 1.2 mil, I think. They're soft, they float. Zach a while ago actually was helping me out while I didn't have a printer. My feeder didn't come with like the feed chute, right? That your guys' iHunt did. So I kind of designed one, had him print it, and it's been helping ever since. I used to turn the pumps off, and now I don't. Um, so I do a mixture of the New Life Spectrum probiotics. They're also a small pellet, and these soft color enhancing pellets. The fish go after it like it's crack. I mean, they're pretty good. I like them. They're
Yeah,
high in
and I like
protein, don't have much ash. So, I also do an alternate feeding every other day. Now that I have that Scopa, I do brine shrimp direct. They have flake. It's called cool green. It's really high in a lot of algae and stuff like that. I like a lot. And then for frozen, I do LRS, Refrenzy. So, but nothing crazy. Just
Do you add
make
any
sure they're
things
fat.
like silicone or any soaks, nothing like that? No.
No, I'm like Jim.
So
Just simple.
you do 3 auto feeds a day and then like 1 frozen, or
Yeah. Well, so I do 3 auto feeds a day, and more so the flake than I do frozen. Frozen is if I remember to do it, but I do a good healthy portion of the flake daily, so the fish are happy, you know.
is that flake need to be kept in the fridge, or is it just
No, no, I wish I had it on me. Um, I mean, the flake themselves actually come like the size of a quarter, $50. I mean, they're big flakes. So, and then you
the
usually just put it in the palm and kind of mush it up for the smaller fish.
yeah, the cool green stuff. I think I bought a jar of that off Amazon. It came in
Yes.
like a quart kitchen jug
Yeah.
or something. And they have like 3 different formulas or whatever.
Mhm.
So it seems fine.
Yeah, I like it. I don't want to say it's cheap. It's not. It's like it's a good price for what the ingredients and the quote unquote nutritional stuff. It's not like a crazy marked up price, so I like it a lot. Yeah, they
any
have
of you
another one called
guys? Sorry,
Cool
go
Mysis.
on.
No, you're good. They have another one called Cool Mysis. It's more meaty than the Cool Green. So
So when I was quarantining my tangs, I would use something, and I don't remember who made it, but they were veggie pucks that you'd push to the glass. Any of you guys ever use those?
Yeah.
Like the mastic
like-
stuff.
Mastic.
I don't know. They were just like seaweed pucks
Yeah,
that
it's
you
called-
stick.
so a
wait.
hard disc that would stick to the glass with almost like a kind of suction almost. I know.
Yeah.
Algae
make them.
wafers.
That's it.
Yeah, algae wafers. Yeah, and then the tangs would pick the shit out of them, and if they stopped picking them, I'd eventually pull it off, whatever they didn't eat.
Like that.
They seem to work well. Yeah.
I could not get anything to eat. I'm not even the hermit crabs are interested. They just melt, corrode away in the water.
I
didn't know those stick to the side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the ones I had were from
good-
Sarah, and they were a rock hard, like huge tablet, like a paracetamol tablet, like a human would take, but like that size, and it would stick to the side of the glass,
Yeah.
just almost with suction. Because I mean, they were rock hard. There was nothing else holding
Yeah.
them. But
You just kind of rub it on a little bit, and then as
Yeah.
soon as you kind of got the
Yep, it would
water
just-
out of there,
Tip.
it would just stick.
That's where you lost me, Jim. I don't tend to rub my food. I tend to just toss it in the tank.
sometimes the fish like a little rub, little smoky rub.
I'm
Yeah.
just
Season. So
picturing
seasoned
Alex
fish.
rubbing all those fish. That's a lot of rubbing, Alex.
Yeah, I don't rub the puffers though.
Take your finger off for you.
So,
anything else you
but
dangle
don't
in the
those
tank?
pellets come in different sizes too? Like you get small, medium, or large, right?
Yeah.
They're almost like the shit you'd throw on the bottom for a Plecostomus in a freshwater tank.
Exactly.
Corridos.
So, what about coral feed? What are you guys feeding your corals?
I'm doing the same.
Oyster feast.
Yeah. Oh, really? So
Yeah,
I've never tried that. So I'm doing the
Pellets.
stereotypical reefroids, and I'm
Reefroids.
specifically feeding. And you guys know how well I'm doing with Goniopora. You've mentioned it before. I am using Goniopower,
Okay.
Yeah.
which smells like chicken stock.
Yum.
I quite like the smell of it. I mean, I can even smell it just slightly through the lid of the top here. It's like,
Nice.
I wonder if there's yeast in it.
Probably. A lot of the feeds have yeast or lactobacillus.
Yeah, so the ingredients simply state freeze-dried zooplankton. That's it. I'm dosing that.
So-
I'm dosing reefroids and another thing with a clownfish on the bottle. Can't remember the name of it, but it's like reefroids, but slightly bigger, and they almost look perfectly circular. Still really, really microscopic, but yeah, not like a powder like reefroids. It's like tiny little balls. I forgot to bring it over. It's right there.
Was it like TSO pellets or something?
No, it's not pellets. It is like a powder, Alex. I'll just grab it.
You're ready.
I find it interesting. You know, some of us have bare bottoms, some of us have salt, some of us are dealing with, or just live with higher nutrients. Some, have the issues with nutrients. So for me, it's high nutrients, high feed, but I don't feed reefroids or anything. For some of you with low nutrients, you have to feed extra. Like I find that interesting, and I wonder why.
That's the
Even
camp
though
I'm
you're feeding them. How often do you feed, Ron?
in. The reefroids and things like that.
Well, everything. Like, what's your
Well, I feed pellets every day. Before,
once a day?
once a day. Yep.
Yeah. See, I never found once a day enough.
Well, I mean, I probably should feed more. I'm feeding the reefroids gonio power soup and things like that once a week, and I am putting that in a jar and giving it a quick stir with a spoon with this AB plus coral nutrition as well, and then I just dose it straight into the tank with the returns off, so it then just circulates in the tank for a while.
And your Anthias do fine with once a day feeding?
They do.
Do you
That's
see?
surprising.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're not kind of slowly shrinking.
Yeah, I've only ever fed my tanks with Anthias once a day, and I've had Anthias in my big shop system now for 4 or 5 years. I mean, some of them are fucking huge now. Nothing like what they say they get to. They're mutants.
Yeah.
Ron, do you use filter socks or filter floss or rollers?
Rollers.
I say if you don't have those things, or and you got a huge pod population, you might have a decent amount that they're taking out of the water column anyways.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering, if you had pods or stuff that they were feasting on or hunting, because I can't imagine that once a day is enough food for them.
Yeah, I mean,
It wasn't enough for my chromis.
They spend all day up here. They don't tend to hang about in the rocks. I mean, my fish choice for this tank was to have things that live at certain levels, so there's movement, full tank. But they don't look like they are definitely eating something from the water column now and again. You can see them just. But no, I don't. I only feed them once a day, and they're all still alive. I've only lost one from this system, and that's because 2 were transitioning to a male at the same time, and I think one had a bigger dick than the other. That was just purely for Jason. Jason, what are you feeding? I'm guessing you're a do fuck all man. Bacon roll once every morning, straight in the tank.
This stuff,
Okay, so you're a Hikari.
auto
man.
feeder, like once a day out of the auto feeder. Refactory auto feeder, piece of shit. Fuck that thing. Junk. Complete trash.
Really? Why?
Oh yeah, it's horrible. It like acts stupid and disconnects from Wi-Fi all the time, and like then it won't run its settings, and it's just a piece of shit.
What's the Wi-Fi do with the
Is it-
feeder? What's the point?
It's all about the schedule. The schedules all run through the Wi-Fi, like
Yeah,
through
but
the app.
I mean, most things I love things that are Wi-Fi, but Wi-Fi disconnects. Everything that runs Wi-Fi should have a small memory chip in it to hold the program that it's running. No?
Well, and it may be still run when the Wi-Fi disconnects. I don't know though, because I'm not here,
Does it?
so I have no idea.
Does it look like that, Jason?
I mean, it's similar. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
thought
very similar. It's just white. I bought that auto feeder particularly because it plugs in as opposed to batteries. Because
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I know my stupid ass would forget to change the batteries. Which is great. It
That's
plugs
what-
in.
This
fine,
one it does too.
but it
These
doesn't
are like
work worth the crap.
$9.
Yeah, I spent a lot more than $9.
$9.
Plus the
for that?
motor.
Yeah.
The motor's real janky on that. Like I don't know. It's not very good.
Oh man.
It's a piece of
Is
shit.
it?
It's a piece of shit.
I thought that refactory looked like, I thought that refactory looked identical to the Eheim. I thought
Yeah.
it
It
looked
does.
identical.
The shape's
and-
the
and-
same.
Didn't refactory, didn't they come out with pumps that looked identical to Jabo pumps?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And refactory just is fucking remarketing Chinese
Yeah.
shit with a little bit of control.
I think the
yes.
refactory one is the similar shape as this in particular,
Yeah.
though, compared to just the standard. There's a slight shape difference with the Wi-Fi
Yeah.
version, and I think this is the model, the refactory one.
I wonder if they needed to make the housing slightly bigger or something to handle like a little control for the Wi-Fi they needed to squeeze in. They had to make a
Yeah.
different part. And I don't want to say the Chinese shit because I use all the Jabo and I don't think it's shit, but I'm just saying it's cheaper and
Yeah.
they're rebranding cheaper stuff. And I mean,
And selling it for a lot more.
yeah.
That shit's
So-
not cheap.
How
But they're
much?
putting in a
Refactory stuff's
little
not
bit
cheap
of
at all.
they put a little bit of engineering into it to accommodate the Wi-Fi. But if it doesn't even stay hooked up to Wi-Fi,
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's fine. It might be fine for like 2 weeks, and then, it doesn't want to work. And it is, you got to fight with it. And the only way to get it to like come back online is to cycle power to it. So
yeah.
I have to put it on a Wi-Fi plug. That way, if I'm not at home and I see that it's offline, I can cycle the Wi-Fi plug, and then it'll be fine. So, I mean, it works. It's just kind of a piece of shit.
So, do any of
It is what
you
it is.
do any of you monitor like John McClane? You've got your new tank. You got sand in that one. Have you monitored your nutrients with your feeding with that tank and seen like any shift in nutrients or change your like how you were feeding before?
Well, I watch mine because if I get over carried away with the auto feeder on this small tank, the nutrients will spike through the roof like right now, like 2 days. Nutrients will be off the charts. So I got to be
Really?
real careful.
So you don't even have
Yeah,
you don't even have like a week.
And pellet food is the worst for me.
It's rocket fuel.
Like that. And if I happen to be feeding corals at the same time, I have some reef chili powder, which is basically the same as the Polyp Lab stuff.
Refried.
And if I get a little carried away with that, off the charts, and then I fight it for 2 months trying to get it squared away again. So I try to feed more frozen food than pellets. I do run the pellets once a day, but then I make my own frozen. So it's got a little bit of everything in it. Got frozen seafood. There's some pellets in there. Spirulina powder.
You mix
some
pellets into
krill.
your frozen that you homemade frozen?
Yeah. It's the BRS recipe, like their reef chili recipe. Like I made a whole bunch of this stuff like a year ago. I'm still using it.
Using the
but it works.
BRS recipe.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's just there. It's got all kinds of shit in it. So
Jim's
I've
just
done that too before, Jason.
I mean,
I thought it worked well.
I don't go through it real fast, so it's not a big deal to make food. Like, it takes me an hour or two once a year.
that's
So
not
it's
bad.
not a big
using,
deal.
That's not bad.
Are you using like from the deli frozen section at the grocery, or are you using like aquarium food?
Yeah, no, I go in Wegmans. The problem is finding frozen like seafood that hasn't been messed with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like it's
exactly.
But Wegmans has like it's like a seafood medley type
It's
of
like
deal.
salted and stuff.
And you just, as long as you like check the label and everything and make sure that it's just frozen seafood. I've had good luck with that. But Wegmans is the only place that I could really find that. But it's been pretty good.
It was recommended to me to go to like the if you have one, go to like an Asian market, and they have the fresher, cheap, and
Yes.
it's cheaper seafood.
We only have one of those here though, and it's kind of hit or miss as to what they have. So, because I mean,
And that's
I live
probably
in the
the
middle of
closest one
nowhere.
to me.
Yeah.
So,
You don't have any of that.
No way.
I mean, but yeah, I got a
all
little bit of
fudgies.
everything in that frozen food. So, I mean,
All
it's
fudgies
kind
up
of,
north.
if I had all day, to be around my tanks like Ron, then I could just feed the frozen and that would be it. But
You fuckers, who are you fucking laughing at? I sit here working 7 days a fucking week, and you're trying to make it out like I'm just fucking chilling with my tanks, sitting here in a fucking palace. I'm working, bitches.
Got staff. He's got
hold on,
staffers
Ron,
to feed
Ron,
his fish.
hold on now.
Hold on.
If you're sitting there
Hold on.
working, how far away is your PlayStation controller right now? There you go. You're working real hard, buddy. Real hard.
Yeah. Hey, Ron, did you get that? I don't know. Let me go see. I got to talk to my staff. It's like, what do you mean staff?
Yeah.
I remember the first time he said he had his staff was bringing him something. I'm like, how fucking loaded is this dude? He's got a fucking staff. He's got like a fucking butler and the whole fucking staff to bring him his fucking coffee. Who is this fucking Scott? This guy lives in a fucking castle, Northern Scotland or something. His staff.
Have you seen most of our castles? By the way, they are.
Yeah.
Your garage is probably bigger and has less holes in it.
I've seen your castles.
Yeah, we've got some fucking awful castles.
You got some great castles, but then you've got some that look like they're,
Yeah, somebody's called it a
shed.
castle and the name's stuck. It's not really a castle. It's a pile of
Yes.
bricks. There's one down there that people don't even it's just not a castle anymore. It's literally a pile of rocks.
So I left and we were talking about fish food, and now we're talking. I had to have a little inspection done, and now we're talking about castles.
Talking about castles.
Do you
fucking
know,
Scott.
my exotic background gets so much chat, Alex. It's the only reason why this place has survived is because they like to talk to people who wear woolly skirts.
Woolly skirts.
Turns them on. Anyway, where the fuck were we? Right, so who's not right? So Chris hasn't said what he does about feeding yet. Alex, do you want to go while you're on the mic?
Yeah, sure. So Well, let me throw my video on. Hopefully the dogs aren't going to go nuts here.
Oh,
So-
hopefully they do.
I don't need that right now. So let me flip around. Go on, flip around. All right. So PE pellets, smalls, and the regular size. That's I toss that in every day. Eventually, I'll get auto feeders going when I get more fish. I've been trying out these monster fish pellets, which some of the big bass offer. He's shooting all the calls and said, "No, that's not what I get." So for dry foods, that typically, and then nori, I'll either get just nori in big sheets and I'll tear that up and toss it in. And then really frozen clams on a half shell is common. Squid, shrimp. I just buy frozen peeled or partially peeled and deveined shrimp. I do leave the peels on for the puffer. And then really LRS, PE mysis, the big Hakari mysis. I'll pretty much buy anything.
So you don't eat your own food. Do you think moving forward you might, based on the size of the tank and the quantity of mouths you've got to feed?
So, no, you guys still hear me? Yeah.
Your connection went really.
Hold on. Let me turn off the video. How's that?
That's better.
Damn it.
Okay. Yeah. I do go to the grocery store and pick up, sometimes I'll get especially the Asian market, I'll go get like whole squids and feed those. So scallops, shrimp, all that stuff.
Just fucking walk somewhere and grab whole squids.
Well, generally, when you go to like an Asian grocery store, there's a different level of seafood availability.
Right.
So they'll have like 6 to 8 inch squids whole, frozen in packs. With just the ink will be removed, and I'd feed those. I'm probably going to make some of my own foods this time around and just mix a bunch of stuff together to make portions and make it easy. Because it could take a little while to do food prep some days. But that's, generally I feed frozen once a day, pellets once a day. As I get more fish like Anthias and stuff, I'll probably kick some feeders on multiple times a day. But corals, I'll toss reefroids in once in a while. I don't target feed for the most part. And other than sea anemones, they'll get usually cocktail shrimp is my favorite there. But
how are you going to judge scale of food in your system? Like, for example, you just said there, you're going to feed reefroids. How much reefroids? I mean, Ben Johnson from Reef Beef says he uses a fat pinch. Well, a fat pinch with somebody with massive fucking sausage fingers is I'm not saying he has massive fucking sausage fingers. I'm just saying if somebody has massive fucking sausage fingers, then that fat pinch is a lot of reefroids. Whereas a fat pinch,
which finger?
Well, it's gonna be finger and thumb, isn't it?
I'm just kidding.
I mean, I probably
I'll pinch with these two.
I mean, in like a 4 to 500 gallon, I was tossing in like a teaspoon.
Okay.
Or maybe a heaping teaspoon, and I'd toss it in. But there's so much coral in there. And once the flow gets going, some of it's going to go into the rest of the system. So it's just a once in a while thing because I don't do feed mode on anything because every time I go to the beach at the ocean, I'm still looking for the feed mode button to turn the waves off, and I can't find it.
I don't like turning everything off and back on. I don't like doing it at all.
I love it for the big LPS. I
think the only point is you also don't see a sump at the ocean. So, there's times where people, if they have too much filtration, they're going to lose all that food to their sump.
So that's the other thing too. Like I only run a couple of filter socks for comedic value because they're full of sponges right now because I haven't changed them in like a year for fun. And I only do that just because I'm kind of anti filter sock, other than like very like every now and then I could do it if I really like, if I go and try to do an algae cleaning, maybe I'll go ahead and throw a sock on for an hour or two. But really, I never run filter socks. Or any type of filter mat. So there's a lot, when you look at my water, it's very clear, but there's always stuff floating around in it. So even feeding reef roids and stuff, I want that to get into the sump tanks and the other system tanks because it's just feeding all that microfauna, which will then reproduce and feed the tank. So, but yeah, I mean, that's generally for corals. That's what I'll do. For the fish, getting into like puffers, especially, it's very important to their diet that they have hard things to chew on. And actually, any fish with teeth or a beak, whatever you like to call it, if that bone doesn't get worn down, they never stop growing. So like clams on a half shell, the puffer literally swallows most of the shell and crunches it up because it goes into their digestive tract. So every now and then they get backed up with pieces of bone or pieces of shell in them, but that's something I've always fed. You
notice when your puffer is constipated due to eating without chewing?
Well, sometimes they just don't eat for a week. They'll stop eating if they get backed up, and then one day you'll just see a whole blowout happen every now and then.
Jeez.
And it'll be little bits of half digested shell.
Wow.
So, but the same thing, like,
call it.
Yeah. Seen it a couple times. Because I'll be like, "How come you're not eating, buddy?" And then, all of a sudden there'll be shell coming out the back end, and I'm like, "Oh, that's why."
Jeez.
But they,
I had that with biota yellow tangs and algae. They were eating it too much and getting overly constipated and dying. A couple of them did.
Really?
Yeah. Just nonstop.
So something that because if it's a digestible form of algae, that makes sense. So something, this is going old school on some fish, but one of the things, like, everyone used to be like, "Oh, feed lettuce." Well, it's mostly cellulose, and there's very few animals on this planet that could actually digest that. However, one of the tricks we did at our LFS when I was working there is if we had fish that were constipated or weren't eating, the lettuce would be a good thing to give in small quantities because it would go all the way through their digestive tract because they can't digest it.
Oh,
so sometimes it'll help clear things.
I've heard that with peas as well.
So lettuce is a Metamucil for fish.
No, I mean, that's how we used to use it, because like stubborn eaters and stuff that wouldn't take nori or anything else, like toss some lettuce in there and they take it, or somebody really was like when you ever, if you import a lot of fish, sometimes you get some in and they are just razor thin. And the lettuce would kind of help open them up.
It doesn't even need to be imported, man. There's some shitty wholesalers out there.
Yeah. So that's something we used to do for that. But I mean, generally with my, I usually don't look at that too much. I mean, in my personal tanks, I've never messed around with lettuce since like the 90s. But I'm kind of lucky too. I've had a lot of fish that come in good shape too when I get it from my LFS.
I've heard good success with other greens, not so much that lettuce, but maybe spinach and things like that might have some benefit if you're like you just need to feed something out.
What about just throwing an enchilada in there?
I think that would be different than spinach, maybe.
I think
not everybody has a Bernadette to make enchiladas for their fish.
Now, if you make now technically you could make some fish enchiladas or something. Now you're giving me an idea. When I prep food, maybe I'll roll them up in nori or something.
Are they small individual enchiladas, or
no? You would make one
fish?
huge enchilada and then slice.
I was gonna say, I'll make a human-sized one and freeze it and toss it into the big tank. So, something else I do like is live clams from like chowder clams, we call them out here. But they're usually like $1 a piece or so. But they're the big gray. Sometimes they're called cherry clams too. I'll get those and I'm not very good at shucking. So sometimes I just hit them with a hammer. But the puffers and triggers and everything really like them. And sometimes, if you make it a little bit more difficult to get, they'll spend more time chewing on the shelf.
They live for a while in your tank.
I have had them live 9 to 10 months. Is the longest I've kept one.
That's pretty awesome.
Sounds like similar to me as well.
Hold on. You get what line
right
for the clam?
Right from the deli, yeah. Pull it from the ice and bring her
way.
Home. Yeah, man.
So those clams are found in. So I did some reading on those clams initially because usually in the U.S. they're on the East Coast, and it generally is more chilly there. However, some of the reading I did, the mud flats they live in, they can get into like the 80, 90 degree range in the summer on low tide. So they actually have a pretty high temperature tolerance. And once you get them in your tank, they will open up and feed. I've even seen them move around. Mm-hmm. And then, once they kind of get established, they're just there.
That's fucking nuts. So
I found them in the sand like months later.
So I wonder how those. So you guys have. I'm sure you've all seen it, or maybe you haven't seen like somebody who takes a dirty ass fucking tank with water that looks fucking puke brown, and they put a bunch of oysters in it, and within no time the water's crystal clear. So I wonder how those clams do filtering water like oysters do.
All clams are filter feeders that way. It's just a matter of what they're gonna do with it. So I know at least with tridacta clams, they can choose to reject certain particles. But I will say, like, I had a big, heavy clam tank at one time, and the caulerpa I let it run wild and it'd spawn every couple of weeks. And the clams loved it. And they did exactly that. They cleared the tank out in a few hours. So they can do it.
I'd love to
Love
try a clam,
clams.
but we don't really. Well, sorry, I was about to use a broad sweeping statement there. No LFSs around me ever have clams. It's just not a thing.
Why is that?
No idea. I
Is it
assume,
allowed?
Like,
I assume they fucking killed so many of them that
Oh.
they've decided they're just not going to bother doing it. But I've never physically seen a clam for sale in a shop.
Like
Why don't
nothing.
you order from Biota? Can't you order from Biota? Is that not?
Yeah.
They're
I'm not-
beautiful
order-
giant clams.
I'm not in the market to buy one, but it's just interesting to
Oh.
me when I see all
Come
the
on, you could
video shops.
you
and
could
beach
really
shops.
market, the Eden Aquatics.
I
First-
ordered 3-inch Hippopotamus clams, and they came. One came this fucking big, man. Like bigger than the guy's head that bought it.
Was it a guy with a tiny head?
Like the end of Beetlejuice.
Yeah, we just
Right.
nobody. There doesn't seem to be a market here for clams. But
So cool.
this week alone, I got this random email from a company. I then got a phone call, and I was like, I don't take a lot of phone calls because normally it's just bullshit. Turns
We have staff for that, so
yes, I do. Yes,
Castle
No.
staff.
no. Screen my calls, damn it.
What is that? What
There's a chance somebody was actually on the end of the
You
phone there.
ring the bell.
did you just talk? Did you just talk to a staffer?
I think somebody may. Anyway, I'll explain that one later.
Another one down. Another one down.
Are you talking about smelly clams? Anyway, so I got this phone call and I got this follow-up email, and it's a guy who is importing from Fiji, Indonesia, Vietnam, a lot of freshwater stuff and stuff like that. And as the conversation went, it's the first time I've ever spoken to somebody in the UK that's basically made me think, why don't I just do it? I think if you do have a good supplier and you've got a kind of trust with somebody and you're bringing in corals and fish and things like that, and the fact that the only other person that was doing it around here in Ayrshire, which was a large department within a chain of garden centres, I just wonder if now is the time to give it a shot with no competition.
Saltwater or freshwater?
Both. I mean, everybody has said to me, you have to start with fresh, get your bread and butter, get this and get this, get this. It just doesn't do it for me. If I got
Well, what about your koi?
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, we got them in this week. That's them all set up. We've almost sold out.
Yeah.
We've got 1,400
Sold out?
fish. And we've
Wow,
Do you
man.
sell them for $200,000 and throw the people
do
in
they
the
come?
air that
Do they come
that
with
buy 'em?
awards?
Any real prize winners? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Let me just speak to the staff. Can you all join me outside to throw me in the air? To throw me in the air. Yes, thank you.
Grab the chair.
Check there was nobody on the end of the phone that time. So yeah, the outdoor fish here again. That garden centre that had the bolted on aquatic centre, it shut down, and they were the only people that sold freshwater fish here. So the nearest place here for freshwater fish outdoor again is Glasgow, but a lot of the places in Glasgow don't do anything of scale. So the biggest we do is 8, 9, 10-inch koi. But yeah, we've almost sold out of our first batch of fish because we get such bad winters here, and a lot of people don't actually care for the ponds in winter. They just let all the fish die. And I know this is going to sound really controversial and horrible. And then in the spring they come in and they
Restock.
restock.
Oh,
I mean,
is that the same
that's
over
not
there?
that's not your problem. That's their problem.
True?
You just reap the benefits, and you
Well,
have to. Your
Yeah.
business.
Here's the thing, though, too. Koi are bred. They're not, it's not like, hey, nobody knows how to breed them or reproduce them.
Yeah, they're not getting pulled out of
I
the
mean-
wild. They are literally getting bred
Oh.
for this exact reason.
The
And
the
they're
other
not,
thing,
they're not food.
and it's funny because in Michigan, when I worked in the store there, a lot of times people used to come in the spring and summer to buy new koi because we'd have green herons and they'd come visit the pond and eat their fish.
Oh yeah, very popular.
They'll take an 8 or 9 inch koi and swallow it whole.
Yeah, we have that problem here. It can be quite a good money maker for us.
So Zach, you were at the local fish store that does freshwater too with me, and they oftentimes take in like they might like in the winter, you know, they have like a little greenhouse area, and it's full of koi, and it's because they take in people's koi for the winter.
That was a cool setup.
So that they take the people who are serious about them and actually look at them as pets and know their fish. They house them for the winters here because we have harsh winters too.
You know, Jim, if you really cared, you'd build a outdoor tent structure that's heated with a staff to take care of them during the winter.
Yeah.
That's what you would do for sure.
Here they just run a bubbler in the pond all winter and they just don't let it freeze over.
That's when I had my pond just outside the office. That was the original owner of the garden centre had a pond, and I ran it for a couple of years, and then I needed the space to park my car on, so I filled it in. But I just put quad wall. What's the roofing stuff called? Polycarbonate over the top of it with a bubbler inside it, and the fish survived absolutely fine. I mean, I stopped feeding them almost entirely. They almost didn't move. But every spring you take the lid off, start feeding, and they were absolutely fine. For the record, the people who buy the big koi here tend to look after them. They don't just let them die, but the wee 2 to 3 inch comets, sarasas, and shabumpkins, they normally just write them off in the winter.
I would like to see your system where you hold them sometime.
Yeah. When we finish recording here, I can go into Discord, go into live, and I'll show you it. Yeah.
So I know here if you're not a gigantic fish store or pet store, a lot of your business is, and I don't know how it will be for you, Zach, moving forward, but a lot of your business turns into service and setups and selling whole systems or maintaining systems. And, you know, a lot of people have the same motto who do it, you know, it's not really for reefers, it's for people who want a fish tank. Hands off, and I'm the one who takes care of it. Otherwise, they fuck it up. But same thing with koi. I wonder how much business is in building. Like, I mean, some of these people pay millions and millions and millions of dollars for a gigantic, you know, man-made pond to house their koi.
I think koi business is very interesting.
Yeah. I just wonder what it's like.
Time, I would definitely
my advice there would be is if you do learn how to build outdoor ponds from some of those guys, don't listen to them if they try to teach you how to build an indoor pond.
Coming from the person in the group that has an indoor pond.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would direct you to go watch Coral Fish 12G's indoor pond have its glass break if he didn't break it himself.
Just shatter. It didn't even shatter. Just a huge crack right down it.
Yeah, well,
I've not seen
when they were building that thing, I was just kind of going, I don't think that's going to work long term.
Did anyone see the guys building Shaq's pond at his house?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah, those are the same guys that built Coral Fish 12G's indoor pond, so.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And that's fucked.
It's fucked. They put out a big acrylic pane in place, I do believe.
Wow.
Oh, so they have fixed it.
Their first mistake was putting a steel plate over a piece of glass and bolting it on.
Oh, that sounds bad.
Pressure or something, tweaked it.
Wow.
Yeah. Water. He was doing a big water change and it cracked.
Well, here's the thing, too. He was getting in and out of it. He might have broke it himself, flexing it.
Oh, yeah.
But based on the the bottom corner location of that crack, something was putting pressure on that glass, and you don't want steel plates on glass. Yeah, I don't know. They
Makes good TV. Lots of views, I'm
I was
sure.
gonna say that's about what it's for, is entertainment. Because I think that was one of the few times I said something in comments going, "Yeah, what's your plan for humidity control?" And then it was, "Oh, well, we're just gonna get a little portable dehumidifier," and I was kind of like, "Yeah, good luck with that."
Yeah. I wonder if he actually did it behind his dad's back. That's what the video is all about. It's like, my dad's going out for the weekend, or for the weekend we're gonna build the pond downstairs. No way.
The drama is just I remember watching a couple episodes of Tanked years ago, and it was like, before the advert, it'd be like a zoom in on Wade's face, and he's like going, "Oh, you did what?" And then some episodes, they were so fucking stupid that when they came back, they forgot there'd been a disaster and just kept filming. There was no explanation on what the "you did what" was.
Yeah, anything that those guys built, I just would laugh, because I go, "Yeah, who's gonna do the fucking maintenance?"
Yeah, they didn't offer
While
that.
some guys
which
playing
was
the
an
drums
oversight.
on the fish tank.
Oh,
You need a castle with staff to fucking keep up with some of those systems.
Absolutely.
I wonder how long Jim's been sitting on that one. He's just like, when can I slag Ron off about castles again?
The first thing you'd probably find out is all the crappy equipment and haphazard and half-ass work they did.
Not all their equipment was rubbish. I thought they had some really high-end skimmers and stuff in some of their tanks, if I remember right. I thought I saw one exclusive in one of them. Is that not crazy expensive stuff over there?
Well, but think about it this way, though, Ron. It's like, I could buy all the best stuff in the world, but if I don't install it for crap, it really doesn't make a difference. I saw some pictures of one of their builds where they had power strips sitting on the lids.
What's wrong with that?
Ooh.
Not secured or anything.
They should be on the floor next to the puddle.
Yeah, just expedite the entire process. Just throw it in the tank.
Just throw it in the tank. Yeah, there you go.
Just set it on fire is what you're really saying if you want to expedite it.
For the record, I'm not suggesting, and nobody on this video is suggesting you do anything like that. Anyway.
Sorry, Ron. With my safety background, I just, cringe when I see or hear these things, because I go, all right, well, that's you making a personal choice for your own stuff, not mine.
Yeah, we've all got to say it at the time when we see it, though. You've got to call it out. There's too many people are worrying about upsetting people about how I spent 3 hours installing this here. Yeah, but you've installed it and you're going to die.
Yeah. So, I saw a reel. You don't know if the reels are staged or real when you see them online. And I saw a reel with some guy in some old lady's basement, and he's looking at the electrical setup, and he's like, "Oh, who did this electric?" And the old lady's like, "What's my grandson? He's really handy." And the guy's like, "Yeah, when did his house burn down?" And she's like, 2 years ago. Wait, how'd you know his house burned down?
Jeez.
That's brilliant.
I don't remember where I saw it, but there was a tank. A guy had a shed on his land, and he had a 12-foot long tank in the shed, and it was fucking electric and wires and cords everywhere. And the tank looked cool, but it looked like a fucking nightmare. And I remember what happened to this guy? Does anybody know where this guy is? And the barn burned down. No shit, the barn burned down.
Yeah, simple things like I put my electrical outlets above the water line. Or I put proper protection with GFCI and Well, I do AFCI too.
Or you could just say, I had aperture.
Anytime I go near my fish tank, I just put a condom on. So I take it very, very seriously. Safe reefing, people. Safe reefing.
I have been shocked pretty severely a few times, which, taught me some lessons about doing it, learning how to do it the right way. Or like, well, the store I worked at, I still don't know how that place never burned down, but
fuck those little Rio pumps. Goddamn.
Yeah, that
Oh,
actually a big Rio is the
Goddamn
worst
little
shock I ever
fucker.
received.
I usually always
Fucking
think I'm
pump.
doing something right until it's fucked up.
Wait,
That's why you're the cameraman now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bree's in charge.
Anyway,
Wait.
we're trying to talk about food and feeding.
Okay.
So,
feel
tools,
like it works.
tools for feeding. So, this is my turkey baster, and I got this one, and it's made by Oxo, and it was because I saw Than Thane on Tidal Gardens. So I had really, really shitty turkey basters until I got this one, and they all leaked, and you ended up with stinky fingers. Now, Jason, that's plenty. And this one is super high quality, fully sealed, and it also has a little bit on the end for pushing in, as well as being able to squeeze the sides.
Like the way you squeeze that, Ron.
Thank you.
Like the way you squeeze that. That's nice.
Strongly recommend that.
Squeeze it again. Come on, squeeze it again. Squeeze it again. Come on.
The top or the sides?
The top. You can't see. Can't see.
The tip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go.
It's totally fucking silent. I'll need to make a sound. Clown nose noise. Right, anyway. And then I target feed Goniopora with this little dropper, whatever you call it. So I've got this short one for the frag tank, because obviously the frag tank's really, really shallow. And I've got
I like that one.
The wee shallow one.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, it's really handy. And then I've got a longer one if I want to feed corals lower down. Do you guys have any tools that you use for feeding? I know Russ is not here. He had to go and do stuff with the kids today, but I know he uses a turkey baster for his frozen foods.
I use
no tools.
that same one that you have.
The Oxo one, or the wee thin one?
The one.
Yeah.
This one I usually use to blow off corals in a dish, or if I'm fragging something to clean in. This one's a little bit wider.
That looks like a glamour setup right there. Sweet
And
tools.
this tip usually goes on this one, which is kind of nice. It has this. Well, I guess it doesn't work anymore, so it's not that nice. But it used to have this fine adjusting.
If you ever used it, you would actually know it was broken. But
right, I guess Brianna broke it.
Shame on Brianna for not keeping you abreast of the situation.
Yeah.
Ron saved that one.
Yeah.
How long do you have that one in your back pocket?
Have you not noticed I've been sitting slightly to the side because it's been in there the whole time?
I keep my feeders up on top of my black boxes, a lot of them. I don't have anywhere to, so they have to drop pretty far. Sometimes when I'm working in the tank, they'll drop on my head.
Oh, so
you got
your pellets. No, I've done that before in my likes, because the further a drop there is, the more chance of it breaking the surface tension.
Yeah, I couldn't find anywhere else to put them on my tubs, so that was just the main reason.
Sitting them on the roof and drill a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I gotta go, you guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
Customer. Good luck today.
Does anyone else use any other tools, or you just literally put it in a Jim?
Maybe you can take Tom off a timeout and let him talk.
I haven't.
He's been muted the whole time, no?
Well, it just says here I can ask him to unmute.
Oh, so maybe he came in and muted himself.
No, I had to mute him because of the noise in the background. But hold on. I'll ask him to unmute. You there, Tom?
Well, I don't
Apparently
have
not.
any tools.
Oh, there he is.
It's noisy here. I had to leave the room with the kids, so I'd rather just stay muted.
Do you want to tell us about what you feed and why, Tom, or is it just too noisy in general?
Just too noisy in general.
Okay. So,
All right.
so Jim, you said
Later,
that you thaw your frozen food in tank water. So how long before?
You want to see my cup? That's my only tool.
Oh yeah, I use a cup too. Cup.
Do you?
Cup here. Yeah.
I use the Kent feeding stick. That's like a little real thin baster, but it has a little red feeding stick you can deploy.
Got a little
To
bit of
poke
food
things.
in there from yesterday.
Oh yeah, mine's gross inside. Yeah,
Yeah.
gross.
Oh, Jim, is yours glass?
Yeah, glass.
You've got a solid
My-
glass cup.
Solid glass cup. My tool.
Could you not make?
I would probably
like-
break a glass one, so plastic for me.
Oh, that is called the sea squirt here, Alex.
Sea squirt.
Yeah, that's called the sea squirt, and I can't remember who it is that makes it, and it extends as well, doesn't it? You can make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a big one.
Oh,
Al.
that's cool. That's what she said.
Yeah. I use that. It's a great one for mantis.
Ah, to keep your fingers out of the way. So is the red bit on the end like a spike? So you would actually put a bit of meat on the spike and then.
Yeah. So and the funny thing is, like my last spearing mantis at my old house, if I picked the feeding stick up across the room, it knew. And its behavior would change. And be like, oh, I'm about to get food.
When you say spearing mantis at your old house, are you talking about an ex-wife?
No.
No, okay. Just checking.
So
So is that
yeah, hand feeding that would not have been wise.
No. I mean, Bernadette feeds herself.
Oh boy.
It's okay. I'll pay for it later. It's fine.
Yes, you will.
She would have to watch this bullshit to find out what I'm saying, though, and that ain't happening.
Yeah, I used to ask my wife when I'd make YouTube videos. I'd be like, "Yeah, I put a new video out," and she'd be like, "Oh yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it." And, I used to just leave it there, but then one day I was like, "Oh, well, that's cool. What'd you like about it?"
Did you like the bit where I had my cock and balls out? For
Yeah,
15
and she's
minutes?
like, "I like the part where you were talking about your aquarium." And I was like, "Oh yeah, which part?" And then she's like, and I was like, "You didn't watch it, did you?" She's like, "No, I didn't. It's boring." I was like, "Thank you."
I would much rather get told that than get lied to. Just say it. What you seen your fishy friends today? What you talking about today? You talking about fish food today?
I hear that every
got-
week. You have a meeting
I
with
got
your
the
fish
phone.
friends, you dork.
I got
Yes,
the
I
phone
do.
call while Jim was here last weekend.
How are you going to talk for 2 hours about fish food? What the fuck?
What are you guys doing?
Talking
Talking about fish.
By the way, she didn't
Yep.
say any of that. I'm just making.
Yeah. Followed by, when's Jim leaving? She can clearly hear. Followed by Jim going, "Oh, I'm
I'm
going to be
really-
leaving shortly."
I took the cue. I took the cue. I fucking.
You know what the best part was, Jim? When she came, she asked me later, she's like, "Well, why did Jim leave? You guys could have kept hanging out." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's a trap."
Yeah, I left.
If I ever say anything along the lines that makes Bernadette sound like she's not all for this, I am talking bullshit. I'm just trying to be funny. She is the most supportive person of all of this. She loves it that I'm out her fucking way. But you know, she just loves that I've got this outlet to talk, because then I probably don't bore her quite as much when I go home.
She's standing in front of you right now.
No, she's not in the office. She's not in the office.
Blink twice, okay? The safe word is banana.
Oh, you don't say banana. A whole other meaning in this office. Anyway, foods and feeding tools. So, Alex, is that the only thing you use as the kind of, well, I call it the sea squirt. I don't know what you guys call it.
I don't know. It's just a Kent feeding thing. And then the only other thing I'll use is those medical. Here's a pair of them. These medical locking clamps.
Oh, yeah.
For puffers and triggers, once they get a little more, like having just one puffer, I could kind of hand toss the food in so he gets it. But once they get bigger or you get more of them, some steel feeding tools are a must. Unless you want chunks of your fingers to start missing.
It's going to be a finger frenzy, isn't it?
Yeah, and like that's because like when I had, and it'll happen in this tank too, and you get a porcupine puffer and a dog face puffer and a bunch of triggers, you basically get 2 sets of tongs, and you put the big pieces in different places to keep the fish from accidentally biting each other. Because I have had that happen before too.
Do you reckon you're going to have to actually set aside a chunk of time every day for your tank in terms of just feeding, out with all of the other maintenance regimes? So, you know, how long do you think it's going to take you to feed your tank? You might not know this yet because you're not fully stocked, but once it's fully stocked, I mean, that's a chunk of time to watch and make sure every species is getting its right amount of food.
I'll be honest. I don't like even my last tank. You know, when I had both tanks going, I get my deli cup full of food for each one of them. I thaw it out, break it up how it needs to be broken up. If I got to do tongs, I will. Like when I get a new mantis, I'll prep that food, and then once it's done, I kind of dump it into the water flow and let it go. You know, so I can't even in the reef tank right now being 24 feet long, I only dump the food in one spot.
That's
and
cool.
I mean, it carries down the Bangai Cardinal. He just waits for it to come to him. So I'll probably split it up into different zones at different times, because I do know like the fish do learn pretty quickly when and where food comes from. So sometimes they'll start behaving like food's coming when you're just doing maintenance. And so sometimes randomizing it's good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes when it's fully stocked. The only other thing I wanted to talk about food-wise is a food that I no longer use, but I did buy what's it made by? Oh, I did write it down. Easy Reef's Easy SPS Evo. So it's like a bag, and it comes with a little nozzle, and you attach it to a doser. So when I first started actually using that, and you use very little to the amount of tank water you have in your system, so the big bag lasted 9 months, something like that. And even then, there was still some in the bottom of it. The only reason why I stopped using it is because there was these kind of like hard, like crystallized kind of sections within it, and it would clog up my dosing lines. So, but the coral response, so you would hear the dose just, and that'd be like 2 million in. 10 minutes later, every polyp, every LPS would be like almost inside out trying to eat this stuff. It was a tremendous feeding response. If I could get that if I could set up some sort of system to flush the lines, maybe, or maybe it was a bad bag. I don't know, but I got the huge, big, like professional version bag. Maybe I should buy the small one and change it out more regularly. But anyway, I'm just saying it had a tremendous feeding response.
The only thing I go on and off with sometimes is phytoplankton. Because I'll get into that and grow that for a while and then dump that in periodically when I split the cultures. And
yep. I don't need enough of it, so I just keep growing it and growing it and growing it, and then throw 10 liters down the drain.
The bioluminescent dinoflagellates, I used to dump those in the tank when I'd split those cultures too.
That's cool.
I gotta get another starter culture of that and get those going again.
Well, it's not like you've got anything else going on, Alex. Come on now.
I like my bioluminescent stuff, though. It's
looking after that nano of yours must be just a piece of piss.
I just kind of let it go, and I didn't really clean it up. I didn't clean that tank up for Jim when he came over.
Jim, was it manky?
No, it looked good. I mean, it looked like an algae tank with a lot of small softies and some cool stuff.
Did you guys trade corals that day? Did I hear?
Yeah, I got like 5 corals. They're all doing well.
Did you find the coral?
Once I removed the hair algae, I was like, "Holy shit, it is here!"
Yeah, Jim, I was like, "Let me give you a frag of coral," and I've got the tongs and the hair algae, and he's like, "There's a coral in there." I was like, "Yeah, just 1 second." I pull this ball of algae out, and I'm like, "There, it's in there." And he's like, "Okay."
That was for protection. The hair algae was keeping it protected.
Well, hopefully that red bubble chain macro does well for you, Jim. That is like my favorite macro.
We'll see how it does. It's doing okay now, but I kind of have a hard time in a small tank with it because there's not a really good. It's a big piece, and there's not a really good spot for it that I've found yet. I've got it in a corner where I think it's doing well.
Yeah, you'll just see little bubbles start to appear on the tips, and then the nice thing is if it gets too big, the fish will eat it. Like tangs and stuff love it.
Will they?
Oh yeah, but yeah, just if you're ever gonna get rid of it, let me know. That stuff's not easy to get a hold of.
No, I'm not getting rid of it. I'm trying to grow it out.
It's not like I had to buy a piece on Etsy, and it wasn't cheap.
Really?
So, oh yeah, it's that particular species is. I love it, and every now and then I'll see it, and that's how I got a hold of it. I ordered it on Etsy.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not on Etsy very often. I don't see finding macro algae on Etsy.
That's where I was just looking for that species of algae, and it popped up there, and somebody was selling it, and it was like a little 1-inch piece I bought.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. No, it's, but once it gets going, that stuff's great. It's easy to remove. The fish will eat it. Grows in just about any light or flow.
It's pretty too. It's a red, stringy bubble.
Yeah, even under the blues, it'll get a really deep red glow to it.
Yeah,
that sounds cool. Well, folks, that's over the hour and a half, so I think we'll wrap it up unless anyone else has anything else they want to talk about with regards to foods and feeding.
I'm finished. I'm finished.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for taking part, and we'll get the next one sorted out. And thank you very much. Catch you later.
All right, later, guys.
Good weekend.